The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a veteran story. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Make sure you hit up the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. There is a merchandise tab there. You can go in there and get you a cool hat, a shirt, something like that. Help support us in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Also, a big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project. I know you know something about them, so go check them out at the website, tillvalhallaproject.com. Get you a shirt, get something, help support those guys in that incredible mission that they have going on. But you can see that at tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps veteran service organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, I got my guest here. This is Nate. Nate, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Oh, shoot, I'm excited. I'm doing good. Can't complain, Another day, another dollar.
Always about the dollar.
Well, shoot, man, I'm glad you came on, and I'm excited to hear kind of your story and everything that you've done in the Marine Corps and what you've been up to. So it should be a good time.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, let's start at the beginning. Where did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about that, and then what drew you into the Marine Corps?
I grew up in New Jersey, in Morristown, New Jersey. More S-town, not Is. Is is north. Just normal childhood playing outside in the 80s, riding the bike, collecting baseball cards.
Oh, yeah.
And then my dad got a job when I was in high school. I was a big athlete in high school. I ran cross country, track, indoor track. So I ran all year round.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is why it's funny. I got to the Marine Corps and I started to not like running. But so then pretty much then I moved to Pennsylvania and pretty much then I lived there for a while, pretty much until I joined the Marine Corps at 27.
Okay.
So,
and did you join right after high school?
No, I did not. I tried the life of blue collar man, and then a whole bunch of stuff, and then one of my former wives was a Marine, and that's kind of what got me into the Marine Corps.
Right.
Looking at it, I was living in base housing after I married her, and playing football with the unit's football team. They were active reserve, Royal Reserve unit up in Pennsylvania. And then, I was playing music and personal trainer, worked for a paint company. So I was doing a lot of things, especially with my music, and then got married to her. And then all of a sudden, surrounded by the Marine Corps, and her brother, who I got close with, he ended up being my recruiter. So I joined at 20.
Okay.
I joined at 27.
Nice. So. Okay. Well, you obviously knew a little bit about the Marine Corps before you joined. What was it like? You heard boot camp stories and all that stuff, I'm sure. So what was your boot camp experience like?
Well, I guess I was really fortunate because I had a lot of inside information. I mean, from my former wife, and then my brother-in-law was the recruiter, like I said, and then my former father-in-law, he was a Chief Officer 5.
Oh, wow.
Between that and some of her really good best friends, I kind of had the inside gouge. I was already older. I pretty much understood that just listen.
Yeah.
But my experience, I guess, physically, it was easy because I was a personal trainer. I did, pretty much what you call, CrossFit hit back then as well.
Right.
So I kind of faked being gassed out for my drill instructors, just because it really couldn't really gas me out that much. Not in the amount of time that they had.
Yeah.
And so I took on. Well, they found out how old I was. I had a bunch of college, and so they made me the scribe.
Right.
That came with a few perks and stuff, and they all the drill instructors really realized that I was just older. I didn't have. I think I had less patience for the recruits, my fellow recruits,
Yeah.
than they did. It's just they just wouldn't listen. It's like, just stand in line. We won't get too. I know we were going to get beat up. I knew the watch thing. I knew it was
Yeah.
all about time, and I equated it to an ant farm, little mini ant farm, and like we would be doing what we're supposed to do, and then someone would screw up, and it was just like they shook the ant farm, like so our boots came off, and the go fasters went back on, or we got
Yeah.
unbloused. Only thing that crushed me is I have a very high metabolism, and I still do at my age now at
Hmm.
45, and I wasn't I wasn't eating enough, and they wouldn't give me double rats, so that was like pretty miserable. So I went
Oh
in at
yeah.
yeah, I went in at 205. I was pretty big guy then, and lifting weights and everything, boxing, and then I came out at 165. So
Oh wow.
I struggled throughout boot camp, just because I felt like I was hungry all
Starving
the
to death.
time, but
Yeah.
I wasn't in the double rats criteria. So
Right.
I just gobbled up everything I could. But
Holy cow. Yeah, that would be rough. I mean, that's you
it
said
was
went
terrible.
down to what was it, 160 from 200?
Once 205 to like 165 when I got out.
Oh
So
my gosh. How much of that do
yeah,
you think was muscle mass?
I think a good amount of it was probably muscle mass. I mean,
Yeah.
but I didn't have too much fat on me to begin with, so I mean, I was,
You were pretty
let's
lean and
just
mean then. Yeah.
I was, and then I just that kind of compounded with them not listening, and
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
by the end of boot camp, if the drill instructors I kind of like would handle things sometimes,
yeah.
not like a ton, but if I said, "Hey, everyone, get online right now," you just hear this like deafening "I scribe," like because at the end I was, they're trying to barter with me for, uh, duty, and like they got
So they don't have
candy,
higher watch or whatever.
yeah, so it was definitely different. I got messed with by one of my drill instructors. Um, he didn't like the fact that the senior kind of took to me.
Yeah.
They just knew I wasn't messing around. I didn't. I don't think I totally needed the complete breaking down, because
Yeah.
I just understood the mission even at that point. So,
Hmm.
but I just had one drill instructor. He just, every time I walk past him, he'd stick his finger in my eye, and I'm like, ah, God, bio leave, good morning, sir. And at the end, I find out he's like, he was admin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Very nice.
so, but I made it through it. I made it through it, and um, I met a lot of cool dudes. There's still, I think there's one guy left that I know of, and he's
Yeah.
actually in aviation, and we ended up being in the same squadron together.
Oh
One
wow.
of my last squadron, we saw each other, immediately gave each other a hug, and he said, I think we're only two out of the three that are actually left from my boot camp. So
Wow.
small world. Chief Warrant Officer, he's a two, and I'm a three, and so
Yeah.
that was pretty cool.
Wow. That's awesome. So now you knew what you were going to do when you came in, correct?
Well, at first had a contract because I was going to do PMO because that's what my former wife was, and then her brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of gave me the insight into the fact that they were going heavy civilian around that time. So
Mm.
I still got a shipping bonus, but uh, I switched over. Then he basically said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I've always liked airplanes and aircraft, so
Yeah.
I had pretty good ASVAB score, and what's that other score? My EL and whatever, all those scores. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
pretty, I was pretty high up there, so I chose aviation. So I knew then after boot camp that I was going to SOI here in North Carolina, and then I'd be heading down to Pensacola to go to school down there.
Right on. And now, what specifically were you was your MOS? What are you doing?
Once my MOS got assigned, I chose the Prowler, so 6313. I was an avionics tech on the EA6B Prowler, which is
Got
no
it.
longer with us. God
Yeah.
rest her soul. So that I knew well, it's funny because down in Florida, I was going to go ATC, and then that kind of backfired and it didn't work. So then I graduated. I was graduating, and they said, "Hey, you're top of the class. What MOS do you want?" And
Yeah.
I want to C-130s because everyone does, but it was apparently 120% or 15% full, and so
Wow.
I chose the Prowler, and then the next class I graduated like 2 weeks later. That like my buddy got like C-130s, and they were told him it was like 75% full. I'm like, how is that even a thing? So,
They just needed you somewhere else, so they told you what they needed, you know.
well, my instructor was a Prowler avionics guy, so
Oh, okay.
and he saw a lot of potential in me. And again, I was even in school, I was just, older than everybody, and just,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, people. It seems like it would be easier to join later and go through boot camp and then school and that, but it's not as easy as people think, and
Yeah.
especially I had jobs where I was in some type of supervisory or management position in the civilian
Hmm.
world, and then now I'm just, I'm clocked in with like, a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds at a barracks room,
Yeah. First
with,
time leaving home or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, and like nothing in common. I'm married. I'm already married. I already have a son and a stepson. So I'm, car payment and just life. I'm
Yeah.
living life,
Yeah.
so, um, that was a little offshoot, but it was definitely harder than I thought, and especially when I got to the fleet in the beginning, it was
Yeah. Yeah.
that was a little frustrating for me.
Yeah. So where did you end up going? Like after your school, you go to your first duty station. Where was it?
Well, first I went. First, you're in Pensacola, yeah, just for your basic A school,
Hmm.
and then I chose the Prowler, so I went to Whidbey Island, Washington,
Oh,
for
wow.
about 3 months, and
Okay.
then the Prowler was there's only 4 squadrons at the time, and they were at Cherry Point, so
Uh,
I did this crazy thing going back and forth across the country, and so I ended up my first D station was with BMAQ-4 at Cherry Point.
got it. Okay. Now the schools, did you have any issues at the schoolhouse, either in Florida or up in Washington? Like no issues at
No,
all?
no issues at all. I always kind of gravitated to uh, the class leadership kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just it was just natural for me, and
Yeah.
everyone pretty much kind of default once they kind of got to know me or knew how old I was like, all right, well that guy's probably good enough to be in charge of the cleaning crew,
Yeah. 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 Very
So,
nice. So talk to me about your first duty station there at Cherry Point, right? So what are your your day-to-day interactions? What was stuff that impressed you or didn't impress you, whatever, but give me a little bit of scoop on that.
um, Well, I did realize and learn really quickly Marine Corps aviation in general, but Marine Corps aviation is just like it's just a blitz. I mean, you're just running the whole time trying to keep these old aircraft up in the air. You know,
Yeah.
if I could equate it to something, it's almost like if I'm driving around as of right now in 2025, a 1988 Ford Escort, and
Hmm.
That Ford Escort, I by the grace of God, I get it started in the driveway, and then I make it to work, and it breaks down. So I'm like, oh crap, okay, so I fix it. I fix that Escort, and then I get Escort to get me back home, and then it breaks back at home again, and I'm like, holy crap, and basically that's like sometimes Marine Corps aviation from just getting the flight hours is they're just
Yeah.
tired. They're tired and old, and I but it gave me a sense of purpose, and I really loved it.
Mhm.
And I worked with wiring, avionics, so I treated it as because I'm an artistic person. I treated it as art. So every wire I fixed, every wire bundle I worked on, every splice I did, I wanted it to look like art and look really
Yeah.
nice. So usually, the better it looked and the cleaner it looked and everything, then the aircraft would actually function and not break as often
Mm.
if you did better quality maintenance. So
Yeah.
as I started moving up, because I basically got like I basically moved really fast. So from the time I arrived at the squadron, basically in around 2 years and 9 months, yeah, 2 years and 10 months, I went from PFC to sergeant.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Yeah.
I wanted to be in shape, so I was in shape. I think I did
Hmm.
76, 75 MCIs. You know,
Oh my God.
I did everything that I possibly could that in first enlistment, and
Yeah.
it just the rank came at me really fast. But uh, if you fast forward a little bit, you slow down, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, so I felt a little better. You know, NCO was great. Corporal, I was like finally because I had these 19-year-old corporals and stuff like, hey,
Yeah.
let's talk about your finances in life, and I'm like, with all due respect, and we know what comes after that.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you got to tell me, bud? Right? Like, you live in the barracks and you have a cell phone bill and a car with high interest rate, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm good. If I'm not good, I'll let you know I'm not good, right? And so they kind of
Yeah.
like let me go, like,
Yeah.
and just and again, if my peers, I just kind of led them just because I was just older and I'm ready to go. So
Hmm.
once I got the sergeant, I felt like, all right, I'm getting there.
Right.
By that time I'm what 30 years old, so I'm still behind the old curve because I joined about a decade later than most joined,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and so I was enjoying it. I got my qualifications. I obviously I excelled. I got everything I needed to do. Moved to different departments like quality assurance.
Mm.
Spent a lot of time there. I became a subject matter expert. My brain was just wired to you put I put headphones on, I put on kill switch engage, I opened up pubs and I would just study the pubs and
Oh,
then
wow.
I would basically be able to see the entire aircraft, all of its systems like kind of in my head to have a photographic memory. So that really has
Oh,
helped.
that does help
Um,
a lot. Yeah.
so that helped
Especially
me.
when you're
That
looking at
helped
pubs.
catapult. Oh yeah, I mean, they could people some people didn't like it. I did. But then I would balance that with, okay, going out to the aircraft because a lot of people are hands on, whether you're
Hmm.
ground Marine or aviation Marine. There's
Yeah.
some Marines that you could show them a book and they just stare at it. But if they get on that right away or
Hmm.
then they pick it up after the first or second iteration.
Yeah. Very
Um,
true.
so that kind of helped me. And then I realized I was stuck because the Prowler was, they kept saying it was going away and going away, but finally it started kind of going away. So I did re-enlist in the Prowler, my first re-enlistment. So after 5 years, I re-enlisted. And I was going to go human counter intel, and then I found out kind of what you had to do with that, and then I was like, and former spouse wasn't happy about that, so
Yeah,
happy wife, right?
that's right. Yeah.
So I re-enlisted. And then things just started. Not my, I wouldn't say my career necessarily slowed down, but my chances of getting promoted slowed down because the MOS wasn't really growing anymore. It was just sustaining until
Right.
until it eventually
Phased out or whatever.
eventually phased out. So
Yeah.
then I had another decision to make after that. So basically, I stayed at Cherry Point for almost uh, 9 years, right?
Oh, wow.
That's where the Prowlers were,
Yeah.
So I was at Q4, and in between that, I went to Q1, and I spent a giant amount of my time at VMA Q1 up until, like I said, it started sunning down, and and then I had to look to lateral move.
And then, so what did you, was there something that was kind of close to it that you went to, or did you have to learn a whole new system? Like, how did that work?
I know I was gonna just stay in aviation because that was like made sense. So I was
Hmm.
looking at the UAS, I think at the time it was the RQ-21. Looked at multiple different platforms, and then basically at C-130s again, and they were like, "No, you can't get in there." I was like, "Okay." So basically, I got told, "Listen, you're either going to get paid separation at what was I at? I basically would have ride and died with the last Q squadron, stayed a
Yeah.
sergeant, and then given separations pay because there's just nowhere for me to go. So
Right.
my only real option was F-35. So I went to the F-35
Okay.
in 2015, right? Yeah,
2015.
2015. 2015, I lateral moved, went to the F-35. And then as soon as I signed that paperwork to do that, I got put on the staff sergeant board for the F-35, so 6338. And then I immediately got promoted because I did
Oh, wow.
almost about 6 years as a sergeant.
Yeah.
And that was me getting every call, being in the quality assurance department, which was all staff and COs usually, and maybe
Yeah.
a random sergeant and basically a junior Marine clerk that handled the publications. But
Right.
so I started getting just like I felt like everything was boxing me in,
Hmm.
I was going to do ECP or MCP, Marine Commissioning Program, but I
Hmm.
was told I had too many college credits, and by my Nexo at one time, and then he ended at the end of the day said, "Hey, I'm sorry. You should always try for something, right?"
Yeah.
And so closer to 2014, I started putting in warrant officer packages, but
Okay.
I had SGT, and sergeant is very hard in our MOS um, to get selected as an avionics officer. That's what I put in for
Okay.
6302. So luckily, by the time I got promoted to staff sergeant in 2016 in
Hmm.
August, in the F-35, I put in again my warrant officer package, and then I finally got. I say finally, I was still young in my career. I got selected once the S was in front of sergeant.
Right. Yeah.
So then
Now, how many times did you total put in? Three?
I put in three. Yeah,
Three.
two as a
Yeah.
sergeant, and then one as a staff sergeant. So.
Gotcha.
Um, and so August 2016, I got promoted to staff sergeant. And then in 2017, that fall, I found out I got selected for warrant officer. And then in 2018, in February, I got appointed as a warrant officer. So I was barely a staff sergeant.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't really, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it. okay, but I didn't really like the rank that much. I was like, and it probably didn't help that at the time I was selected staff sergeant. I got to go to the stack and CO meeting, getting ready
Mm,
to be a big boy. And the
right.
sergeant major we had at the time was like, "Hey, welcome, future staff sergeants. I just want to let you know, staff sergeants are useless." I was like, "Well, this is a great talk." you know, um, I mean, I remember, in 2016, after, I remember getting promoted and looking at that rocker hanging down, and don't get me wrong, I was very proud.
Yeah.
It felt so cool to see something underneath,
Yeah.
and um, but as soon as I got promoted to staff sergeant, I was like, man, I need to get this PME done. So I hopped right on it, trying to get the PME done, and I was like, I need to be a gunny because gunny was the thing. Like,
Yeah.
gunny's just the best, right?
Yeah.
And but I never got to see gunnery sergeant, so
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I'm not complaining. Um, so yeah, 2018 in February, I got appointed, and then um, when I was at F-35, just to let you know, basically my second duty station was Beaufort, so I was in Beaufort at that time,
Oh, okay.
at MCAS Beaufort,
Yeah.
and so they basically gave me orders to be in FA 224, which is an F-18 unit there. So I went from 501, which is a training squadron there, after I got appointed and got done with school, warrant officer school, and then school to be a maintenance officer. And then I went right over to 224, which is on Beaufort. So
I want to take a moment to talk about something important: getting the VA disability rating and benefits you've earned. The VA claims process is overwhelming and can feel like a maze. For a lot of us, just getting started is half the battle. That's where Brookside comes in. Brookside Veteran Services. We've got your six. Brookside has helped tons of veterans, just like you and me, take on the VA claim system with confidence. Whether you're filing for the first time, going through an appeal, or trying to get rating increase, they've got your back. Here's some of what they offer: step-by-step help with your VA disability claim, support with appeals and increases, a personalized approach that respects the unique services and situation, and the best part, no upfront fees. They only get paid when you do. Go see the website, www.helpvetusa.com. Contact Michael Irie, Veteran Services Representative on Facebook, or email michael.helpvetusa@gmail.com or admin.helpvetusa@gmail.com. The bottom line is you served your country. You earned these benefits. Let Brookside help you get what's yours. Brookside Veteran Services. We've got your six. A new unit there in Beaufort.
basically to a new unit, and then did a UDP with them. So that was like, what time did I get there? 2019. I got there, did a UDP with them, and then I
Where
moved
was that to?
to Iwakuni.
Iwakuni. Okay.
So, which I really actually enjoyed that, and I kind of, um, you know, I didn't get to move. I haven't moved much, and I didn't get to move much just because of some family stuff later on, that the Marine Corps and my leadership worked with me on. But just because the Prowler, for so long
Yeah.
was just there, right? So
Right.
I enjoyed Iwakuni. It was really neat, just to see it, a different country and a different
Yeah.
base, and everything like that. So while I was there, I had moved my family, um, to North Carolina, because I knew I was going to get orders. Then after 224, I was going to go to New River and get orders to be in a 365. So
Okay.
Osprey V-22 squadron. So that was nice. So I moved all this crap, and then I was driving back and forth, and and then did the UDP. And
Hmm.
then, of course, while we're on the UDP, it was COVID. So
Yeah. Oh man.
um, it just like on the way back from Japan, we stopped off at Hawaii, which was fantastic, by the way. I would have loved to be stationed there just for
Yeah.
one tour. I mean, I don't know how you could be in a bad mood in the Marine Corps if you just look outside past the
Yeah.
flight at the water.
No matter what happens, all you gotta do is walk outside and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm in Hawaii." That's right.
Literally, a bucket list for most.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, but on the way back from the UDP in early 2020, so January, we got. Well, I say it's bad, but we got stuck in for a little while in Hawaii because
Okay.
we're supposed to be there for a few weeks anyway to train, but
Right.
then it just extended. It got extended because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then that, then trying to make it back. And I knew I had to execute orders that summer in 2020 to New River. And I'm still living, I'm in the BOQ, bachelor quarters on
Yeah.
Buford. And then I'm asking the general to get permission to drive back and forth until I can exit, until I check out. And then, I had to get
Yeah.
special leave approved and to go out of the 75-mile radius.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was pretty taxing because I just got, the deployment got extended and then I could barely go back and forth at first.
Yeah. I mean,
It
that was
was rough.
still during COVID time. So you're trying to go back and forth, and they didn't want people traveling at all then.
No, they did it. And like I said, it took, I had a buddy who was an ordnance officer that I room with. It took the both of us talking to our commanding officer and then basically submitting these leave packages with multiple dates, explaining our situation that our families were in North Carolina. And
Yeah.
and the general did sign off on it, after we did all the paperwork and the preventative measures. Whew,
Wow.
that was kind of a lot. And then, and then June, about end of June, I think June, beginning of July, I checked in then the New River. And finally, I had a house in Holly Ridge with my wife. So
Mm-hmm.
finally, I was able to see her kids, and then my sons that have been in this area the whole time. And so that was nice. And I
Yeah.
didn't have to. I had a like 25-minute commute, and um,
Yeah. That's way
you know,
better than driving from South Carolina all the way up up there, North Carolina. Huh?
yeah, 95. I had a few scares on that bad
Yeah.
boy. Yeah. So that was nice, even though we're still, that period still like COVID still weird.
Right.
People with, you know, cut skivvy shirts wrapped around their face, and
Oh yeah. I
the
don't see how any of that would have helped at all. But
uh,
yeah, we did some weird stuff, that's for sure.
no, we totally did. But I'm at that time now. I'm a CW02, and just really getting my feet wet, understanding kind of, because we're supposed to be subject matter experts, and
Right.
I am in avionics, but if you switch a platform every couple of years and have to learn a new platform, it comes
Yeah.
with a little bit of stress, but I love it, and I soak it right up, and I just start getting in the pubs, whatever new platform I have, just like I would have as a enlisted maintainer, and I kind of learn
Yeah.
what I need to learn. I ask a ton of questions. My success, my whole career is I just ask questions,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if I don't know something, I don't BS it. I would go find the answer and then
Yeah.
give the answer to whoever asked me. Or so I always I'm not, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
those
Yeah. Yeah.
guys that you kind
You're
of
right.
like, look up to or have talked to, and then they just tell you the worst gouge ever.
Yeah. True.
You're like,
Yeah.
what is this guy talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't want to be that guy. So I finally was getting, kind of getting it all down. And then,
Yeah.
just New River was great. I like that little base. I mean, it's not much to it, but I liked
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
Being close to the family, got selected for CW03 during that period. And then was getting ready in 2023, got the next set of orders, they moved me back to Cherry Point, to the Harrier Squadron. Uh,
Oh wow.
VM,
Okay.
yeah, VMA 231, who just had their sundown ceremony this morning. I couldn't make it to, but so I did a year there. I enjoyed that. Had to commute again, so it was like hour and a half
Woo.
each way. But I have a Tesla, so it's pretty nice. So,
Oh, you just laid
uh,
down, went to sleep, and hit the button. I know. I know.
I won't say I went to sleep. We don't, but let's just say I'm chilling. So,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah. You're definitely chill for sure.
and then so that made it nice. And then I was there for a year, and then they told me, "Hey, we need you to go over to some place that's gapped. We're bringing a young guy in, basically take over that position I was in." And that's where my buddy was at, who was in my boot camp, was at
Oh, okay.
231.
Yeah.
So that was fun. It was really fun, and it was really, just walk in there and see him and be like, I cannot believe, you know, uh, from boot camp to here the two of us
Yeah.
are. He just got selected. Well, he got selected for 3. And should pin that this fall, and then I'll pin, hopefully, if the restrictions lifted, hopefully in August, I'll pin CW04. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. CW04. There's not a
Yeah.
whole lot of CW04s walking around.
Not a ton of them, and I just kind of I haven't, my whole career. I don't want this to come out wrong. I've never really taken my rank seriously. I'm just a human. I'm just a normal dude. So I've always tried to just relate to my Marines and stuff.
Yeah.
But I take the job seriously, and I take that seriously. But I'm not one of those that like, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm like, and I never knew, like, I kept kind of keep getting promoted, and then finally this one kind of hit me like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
PFC to CW04, and all doing that all at, I'll be at literally 18 years. That's pretty fast.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
really good. 18 years at
Yeah.
CW04.
Yeah.
Uh, wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
So my goal in the footprints was to be a CW05, but through injuries and some life stuff,
Yeah.
it's just I think God's a calling, and it's time for me to probably to be hanging it up. But I'll be heading to South Carolina, back to Beaufort, for my last tour 2 years. So I'm gonna
Okay.
basically live in the BOQ again, a little bit more expensive, keep this house, and then just drive back and forth every weekend.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that'll be fun. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
So, but that'll be your last stop, back down to South Carolina, and
yep.
then you're gonna retire there on the depot, maybe. Yeah.
Hopefully, that's my
Yeah.
that's my goal. See if it works out. I mean, I could probably just wander around and that talk to somebody. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. I'm like, yeah, can I use can I use these footprints? I mean, literally, like 30 minutes, 30 minutes, bro. I won't have a lot of people here. Uh,
I'm sure they'll let you. I can't imagine them saying no.
I mean, what would be neat is if I could be, you know, on a bus that pulls up and then getting yelled at by the drill instructors, and I just get off as a CW04 in my uniform, and then I then just get retired like on the yellow footprints,
Now that would be classic.
right?
You're gonna have to film that though. If you do that, you got to film it. So,
I am, and
yeah.
even if it's nothing crazy, if I choose to do it on the footprints, that I'm gonna film it. But that just
Yeah.
someone was like, I don't know anyone that's ever actually thought about doing that. I was like, well, I just thought it'd be kind of neat, and I'm at Beaufort, and
Yeah, you're gonna be there, so might as well. Yeah.
and one of the craziest things, like being at Beaufort for the first time, was, I actually got to go back to Paris Island where I went through
Hmm.
boot camp, and then where'd you go to boot
I
camp?
I was Hollywood. I went to San Diego.
Okay, but you went back there after
Oh
you
yeah.
were a
Yeah, yeah,
Marine,
yeah.
right? And so how, like, it just, crazy because you're just like, oh my God, that's right there. This is right here. This is where I was. Because one thing I will give the Marine Corps in boot camp is they're able to put these tiny little blinders on you, and
Yeah.
you just and you're so busy, you're so worried about like getting yelled at for something or messing something up that you don't realize that you're really only working in like for most of the time you're working in like a 2 mile radius or
Yeah.
mile
Yeah. Yeah.
radius,
Yeah.
so
It's very true
that
though.
yeah, and like Paris Island, like once I came back, I was like, oh my God. And I'm like walking around down there, I'm walking around as like a sergeant. I'm like, oh, and you still have that weird feeling like someone's gonna blast me, like I'm like,
Yeah.
check my cover's good, my chevrons are good, I'm bloused good, but
Very
it was
nice.
it's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to going back again and just
Yeah.
driving down there and just at the end of my career, just soaking it in because I wouldn't trade this life I chose to do for anything else. I mean, the only thing this has done is make me a better person, a better
Mhm.
father, leader. I am going to tackle the civilian world. I'll have to slow down a little bit and probably watch my language, which I've done a really good job with on here, by the way.
Yeah. I don't think you've said any bad words on here at all,
I
man. I
have
think you've done everything.
I did a lot of customer service in the years leading up to. I
Yeah.
sold
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
cars, and I'm pretty good at if I don't have to, I don't, or it's probably not appropriate, I won't. But
Yeah.
but darn do I love to blast off. And so I'm gonna have to learn how to tone that down. And before I'm like in HR's door at their door every day, like, dude, you can't. Like I'm like, what? The
You
guy
again?
sucks. The guy literally sucks. You
What
know?
do you expect me to do?
What do you want from me here? You put me in charge of the paint department at Lowe's.
Oh my God. Oh, that's good
Yeah,
stuff. Well,
yeah.
shoot, man. Thanks for coming on and sharing your story. It's pretty
Ah,
cool.
no problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool, and maybe I'll join you again once I'm,
Yeah. Yeah.
out, and then we'll give it like 6 months to really have me break down and figure out, like,
Yeah.
wow, I went,
Then you could tell how it really was and all the
yes,
ins and outs and
I'm being a very good Marine Corps active
yeah.
duty officer right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, you
Um,
are. You're doing very great. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
but it's eh, again, I'm so proud to be a Marine. I literally am. I was just scrolling. I don't doom scroll as much anymore, but I was doom scrolling through Facebook and I saw
Yeah.
the silent drill team in
Hmm.
New York, right? And I mean, you know, damn,
Gives,
right?
gives you
It's
chills.
just it
Yeah.
gives you chills, and the fact that even at this point, even in my career, that all the small things are still important to me, like
Hmm.
looking good in my uniform. I want my sleeves to be right. I'd say I worry about haircut, but I shave my head. But look at just the whole thing, the customs and courtesies, the uh, everything that it is to be a Marine. I still enjoy it. So
Yeah.
that is a little scary because my body's kind of falling apart. But of not reaching my goal of CW05 and maybe doing 25, 30 years. But um,
Yeah.
I still, like I said, I'm going to enjoy it to the last second that I can. And
Yeah.
just, I enjoy being around Marines and like helping them out with anything that they need.
Oh yeah, for sure. Don't forget though, whenever you do, actually, before you could get out, you could do it as well. But the Marine Corps League, nope, the Marine Corps League, I got a point, and my finger's not showing up. The Marine Corps League. Don't forget to join the Marine Corps League.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good group. We've got to get a lot of more younger guys in there involved as well. But
Mhm.
but it's a good group. They do some good stuff.
I will definitely check that out. And
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, for
you, you
sure.
know, once I submit, for retirement, and I know the clock starts ticking, and
Yeah.
so I'm just preparing. I'm just preparing for that. But I'll tell you
Good.
what, this pack's not dropping.
Yeah.
Still got to
Yeah.
get a
Yeah.
high
Yeah.
first class PFT, CFT.
Good for you,
Still
man.
got
That's
still got
awesome.
to get those 22 pull ups. Yeah.
22. You got to get
Yeah.
22.
I always give one for Chesty. I only need 20 now.
Ah,
I only need 20 now at my age, and then next year I'm watching the scoring charts, and I'm like, oh man, maybe I am actually getting a little older here. But don't
there's
slow me
something to
down.
that. Yeah.
So,
Well, shoot,
but
man.
yeah,
I always ask these rapid fire questions at the end, so I'm gonna
yep,
I'm gonna hit you up on them as well. You ready?
I am ready.
Okay. What is your proudest military moment?
Getting the Eagle Globe and Anchor, I still remember it, and it means a lot. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
I like it. I like it. What is your most embarrassing military moment?
At the ball in 2021, after my wife told me not to go back on the dance floor, I did, and I tore my Achilles tendon.
Oh, jeez.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, that,
It kind of jacked me for, that's still jacked. I need to get it fixed.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. And then I took that, I was on a crutches and all this stuff near Veterans Day out at a Tractor Supply in North Carolina, and a Vietnam vet sees me and he's like, "Are you a Marine?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "How'd you get hurt?" And I was like, "Sir, do you want the truth, or do you want me to say something like, in training or something?" He's like, "Tell me the truth." I was like, "I was breakdancing at the ball and I tore my Achilles." He's like, "That's embarrassing." So,
That's pretty good. I like it. Oh, man. All right, here we go. If you could be one military leader for a day, who would that be?
it would probably be me again as a sergeant. Do things even better.
Ah, yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah, no one's ever said that before. That's good. I like it. All right. If you could change one rule in the military, what would it be?
Not necessarily the military, but in the Marine Corps, I would definitely say to be sleeves down all year round again.
Oh, yeah.
Everything we do in training is sleeves down, and in any state like North Carolina or South Carolina or Florida, having rolled sleeves just holds humidity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I like it. All right. What is one lesson or skill that you learned that you still use today? Although you're still in, but what is a skill or lesson that you use daily?
Um, to be an effective leader, just listen. You know,
Mm, yeah.
listen. Don't. It's easy for them to come in to already have. Oh, I know. I already dealt with this kind of guy, or I dealt with this. Just listen, right?
Yeah.
And you never know
Yeah, that's a good point.
what they'll tell you if you slow down and just listen. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very true. All right. We're gonna get real here.
oh
In the
no.
zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice and what anthem would be playing?
The zombie apocalypse, I would probably use an axe.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, that's with
I
a
like it.
very very lightweight axe, so
Yeah,
I could do some major swinging.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The pistol and everything's nice, but you're going to run out of ammo.
True.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
and I would probably be swinging that axe at zombies, or people trying to take my grain
yeah, 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 yeah. There's
my
always that too.
grains.
Yeah.
Uh, and it would probably be to We Are the Champions.
Ooh, yeah. I like it. I like it.
No
All
time for
right.
losers.
I love it. All right. What animal best describes your time in service?
Uh, I guess a kangaroo. It's
Okay.
I- I'm a Marine. I'm a Marine who's in good shape with really skinny legs, and I've taken a lot of things and added them to my tool pouch to make me a better Marine.
Oh, wow. That's good.
That was good, wasn't
That was really good. I like that. I like what you did there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it?
All right. now I do have people other than Marines on here, but which branch of the military has the sexiest uniforms?
Uh, I'm gonna have to say the Marines, obviously.
Yeah, okay.
I honestly, I think it's our alphas, but you know, people like
Yeah,
to dress blues. There's nothing. I think with the right fit, the alphas are the best.
yeah, yeah. It's a good uniform. I really like that uniform. All right. Which branch of service is the best? You'd be surprised how many times somebody from another service says Marine Corps.
No, I
Yeah,
definitely
pretty
say
cool.
Marine Corps. But if I wanted things a little easier and I wanted to get, I was a single guy and wanted to be a H earlier, and I'd probably join the Air Force, and they have more jobs
Cool.
available.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you're going
Yeah,
to get the
very true.
same basically pay and everything, and you can get some
Yeah.
BAH younger. Yeah.
My cat is trying to get in the scene here. All right. This one, knowing what you know now, would you still do it all over again?
Absolutely, I would do it all over again. Everything happens for a reason, and I think in the long run, I'm just going to be better than I would have. I can't even actually imagine if I hadn't joined the Marine Corps. So,
Yeah.
I just it was the right time, even at 27 years old. It was the right time, and I would never, I'd do it all over again.
I love it. All right. Well, brings us to the end here. What words of wisdom do you have for our listeners?
Like I said, it's just be a good listener. Look, and then honestly, just every once in a while, just scroll through your phone and just find somebody that you know or you've known, and just give them a text or something, because a lot of us, including myself, have moments where we struggle. So
Yeah.
um, just maintain that camaraderie, I would say, and that's one thing that I'm going to have to deal with once I'm not around the day to
Yeah.
day of the Marine Corps and all of it. It's just stay in touch and just
Yeah.
listen.
That's good. I like it, man. Well, hey, thanks for coming on and doing this. Truly
No
appreciate it.
problem.
It's been awesome hearing everything that you did and are still doing. So thanks for what you do, man.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I always end each podcast talking about veteran suicide and ways that they can get help. So if you're out there, you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know this guy here cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, just like he said, reach out to your buddies that you served with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need a helping hand, please give it to them. All right, man. One last time, thanks again for coming on. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.